Welcome to Business Over Beer, where entrepreneurs, small business owners, and people passionate about what they do bring us their stories and their favorite beer. Hosted by Ben Surratt, Jonathan Kaler, and Jason Knope, it's time to get down to business and drink some beer.
Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of the second biggest podcast in the Pacific Northwest. Yes, folks, I know, it's hard to believe, but we are still on the heels of those pesky Sasquatch hunters. But I know this episode will bring us to the apex, and we will reign supreme in the Pacific Northwest. Of course, this is Business Over Beer. I am your co-host, Ben Surratt. Alongside me, to my left.
That's weird, isn't it? Far left.
To the far left is the man of the hour, the terror of power. Some people call him the Space Cowboy. Some people call him Touchdown Jesus. Some people call him Philip Reardon, the 10-eyed man. But we know him as Spartacus. Mr. Jonathan Kaler, happy Friday.
Happy Friday, Benjamin. I am Spartacus. I have led you here, and you just hit on it. This is why we're having so many problems. The setup is all wrong.
It's all wrong.
We got this guy just messing the vibe in the middle.
It.
I'm not exactly sure why we didn't come up with that sooner, but that's okay. It's a Friday night. We're out drinking on a Friday night at one of my favorite breweries in all of Vancouver.
For real.
In all of Southwest Washington.
Yes.
In all of Portland Metro.
Amen.
In all of the United States of America.
Preach.
I'm so glad we're here. We're so fortunate to be here. And speaking of my favorite things in all of the United States of America and Germany, we have got with us, as always, the gift that keeps on giving. He is the gangsta of Hazeldale. Are you guys down with the KNOPP?
Yeah, you know me.
Welcome to Business Over Beer, buddy. How you feeling tonight?
I'm feeling pretty good, but I can't quite hone in on which eyeball of those 10 that you're looking at.
There's 10 of them, aren't there?
There's 10.
Yeah.
What'd you call him?
Phil
Reardon.
Phil Reardon. Nice to meet you.
Good to see you.
10-eyed man.
Yeah. So I'm fantastic, man. This is awesome to be here. We have Jason, Landon, and Tom of Loowit, and we're drinking beer with them, hanging out, chit-chatting, and I'm excited to get down to it.
Yes.
Loowit Brewing, man.
Thank you guys
so much. Welcome to Business Over Beer. How you guys feeling?
Good. Feeling good. Yeah, it's Friday, like you said. Yeah, we're sitting here with the nope.
With the nope.
No. Nope. Spartacus and Ben.
Yeah, you don't. Where's your name?
He doesn't get one because nobody introduces him, so he
Well,
doesn't.
my wife calls me Jackass, so you can call me Jackass.
Well, then, right?
Yeah, we both.
That seems fitting.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. Well, guys, we always like to start with your business. So here we are. We're at Loowit Brewing in downtown Vancouver. Maybe just give us the 50,000-foot view of your brewery, your business, and kind of what you're into.
Well, I guess that really we want to make really good beer. Yeah.
We do make really good beer.
But yeah, we want to make really good beer and be local. And I think that was the initial thought in the formation of the brewery was we want to have good beer on this side of the river. When we opened, me and Devon, the other owner who isn't with us today, we were tired of going to Portland. So we wanted to have a place on this side where we could go hang out, chill out, have that pub feel, that kind of thing, be a part of community. And that was really the driving force in the creation of the brewery. So I would say that it's still kind of the key aspect of it is community, good beer, and having fun with it at the same time as much as possible. So that's kind of Loowit in a nutshell. With any brewery, you always have aspirations to be the biggest in town and be the best. And, that's something we want to do, but it's not always feasible. So in the meantime, right? it's just all about that kind of feel of like, yeah, this is my hometown place.
Well, you guys are seriously like the OGs.
Yes.
Right? Or one of the OGs, right? I moved out here in 2013.
Okay.
Right? And so I've seen the beer scene on the North Bank in Southwest Washington grow around you guys. When we first came here, I mean, Loowit was one of the staples of Vancouver, and of course, all these other breweries have come up around you guys. And I've said it; these guys will vouch for me. I think Southwest Washington, Clark County, is brewing the best beer in the country. And you guys were at the forefront of that because you guys have been here since 2012, right?
Yeah.
In downtown Vancouver.
Yeah, right in this location. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's awesome. Thanks, man. I do think that Southwest Washington has the best beers in the country. I really do. So when we started, the only places open were Salmon Creek. I think Salmon Creek was still open. Hazeldale Brew Pub had just closed, but those were the only two places prior to the New Guard come. I call it the New Guard.
Yeah.
Yep. So then Mount Tabor, Eric Surface opened Mount Tabor.
They were right around the corner.
And they were across the bridge to begin with, and when he opened up.
Yeah, he was in Mount Tabor.
Yep, they were
area.
over there in Portland.
That's the name. And then he moved over here because he lives in Playa. He kind of heard about us through a newspaper thing that me and Devon had done because we were all about telling everybody we're going to open a brewery.
Get the word out.
Yeah, and even though we didn't have a clue, so he heard about us through that, and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm starting mine. Let's get together and kind of collaborate." So. At that time, I was in construction. I helped put his floors in the place. He was also a friend of Sonny from Heathen. Mm-hmm. So Eric was first about a year before us in Heathen, and then Heathen and us were second. And then since then, it's just exploded, and it's been really cool to see. And we've got a great community. So,
And I don't want to kiss your ass here, but here I'm looking something up because.
But he's gonna kiss your.
But I'm gonna kiss your ass. Because honestly,
I don't normally get that. So
this is when I first moved out here. The Storm Shadow Imperial IPA was the first best beer I had in Southwest Washington, and I remember that beer and how much I enjoyed that beer. That was for me the perfect IPA. Yeah. At that time, and of course, so many beers have come since then. But I remember that beer specifically just being one of my first favorites when I first moved out
here. Yeah, that was probably about a year in, maybe
right there.
So yeah, that I enjoyed that beer too. I would say that those first beers though, we could have done better. We could have done better.
They were. I will tell you this. So coming in from the outside into these guys, I was a distributor. Heard about these guys. We had just started a distributorship here in Southwest Washington, and said, "Hey, there's these guys opening up this brewery, Loowit Brewing. Let's go talk to them." So my owner at the time, he came down, talked to these guys, and we came down. We had beers. Ooh, we're on to something here. And I remember shortly after picking them up, and this Storm Shadow coming out. Came down and tried that beer. I was like, holy cow.
Yeah.
Now we got something rocking. I can do this. I'll sell this all day, every day. I remember that distinctly. Yeah. When Storm Shadow hit, it was in my head, it played off that G.I. Joe thing. I was like, I played with G.I. Joe when I was a kid. What is this beer?
That's
and
what it was about,
beer,
too.
And it was like,
that's a great story.
Oh my goodness, And yeah, just so yeah, I agree with what you're saying there. That beer was one of the very few in the very beginning that was that's a winner. That profile's a winner right now, right? And it did. Sold out like that.
Yeah, and to let you guys know, so Jason, he's been with us since 2012, end of 2012.
I mean, in the beginning, since you guys opened, I was a distributor. I took the beer to town here in the market with about 11, 12 years of experience in this market, selling beer for a different distributor. had the contacts, So jumping in and opening up Big River Distributors with Adam was a blessing. It got me in the door with all these guys. I got to meet all these guys. And there was a lot of brands that came with that. But these guys were near and dear to my heart. Like, I love what you guys do. I love the feel. I love the branding. I love everything about it. I love this brand. It is so sick, and I know it can be something. And that's what I latched onto. So I took it to market and just was like, hey, you got to try this. You got to try this. And I went to everybody in town saying, you got to try this.
Nice.
We had wins. We had losses, right? We had people that were like, man, I don't know. We like Portland better. Well, go over there and drink beer. But now those same guys and same people are here drinking, and they know. And it was just that kind of standoffish. You guys are new, and I don't know about you, right? So.
And when he started, he was clean shaven.
No, I don't think I was.
You've always had.
I've had this for a long time. I've done this for a long time. It's kind of my I don't know what you call that.
Your trademark.
My trademark.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
If I were to shave it off, none of you would recognize me in this room. I'd walk in and be like, who's the 12-year-old kid?
You wouldn't even know who the guy in the mirror was.
I barely do. When I do it, I go, oh, shit, what did I do? It's not good.
Well, hey, we've been talking about beer. Let's drink some beer. This is the Business Over Beer podcast. This is the beer portion of the program. We ask all of our guests to bring a beer to share. We're in a brewery. I don't even have to ask, but I'm going to anyway. Have you guys brought us a beer to share? What did you bring us?
What did we bring?
Yes, we have.
That's Landon.
Right here.
Landon.
So today we have our Gamma Ray IPA, which is going to be one of our new flagship IPAs.
With a different name.
With a different name in the future. We are still working on a name for it for when it is in package. But you'll be able to find it on the shelves here in the next 6 months.
Awesome.
And a little about it?
So
Let's talk about it.
Well, right. I get it. All right, so it is. Shadow is your old school IPA. This is more.
Shadow Shinobi.
Shadow Shinobi is your old school IPA. This is more your new style of IPA. It's very aromatic. You have a lot of flavor profile to it. It's tangerine, mandarin orange. You have that dankness on the aroma and a little bit on the palate. It's not overly bitter. Very smooth drinking, well balanced.
What's the hops in it?
The hops in it are Strata, Cascade, and Idaho 7.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, let's get after it.
Yeah.
All right. Prost.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Yes.
Hey. I hope you guys enjoy it.
One of our new faves.
It's delicious.
So the way we are doing this currently is we were asked by, I know you're probably going to talk about the beer, but we were asked by one of our distributors, like, hey, let's get ahead of the curve a little bit here and get some new flagships on the line. So for our West Coast IPA, Shadow Shinobi, that's our leading flagship beer. That's what's made us the brewery we are. In fact, some people still call us the Ninja Brewery. It's old name. So for a new West Coast style, is this beer is that, and we try to go through different iterations and test out things. So this particular one, once we're happy with how it is right off draft, we'll save some of it. We'll probably can some off and then throw it one in a hot spot, one in the walk-in, and then go back and sample them, see what has happened to the hops, see what has happened to the profile of the beer, because we've learned from a lot of other brewers and over time, that's really important. Like, what's a beer off fresh, which is all we taste.
Yeah.
3 months later is a completely different animal.
Yep.
So,
Do you find other breweries are going through that same process, or do you think, or is it typically, look, it tastes great now, I'm going to send it out to market, and then I'm going to yell at people on Facebook when they drink it when it's 3 months old and snob out on them?
I feel like, to answer that, I feel like if the brewery really cares, and they feel like that beer may be around for a minute, especially when it goes into cans. They do that. They want to know how long is that going to be good, right? So I feel like there is a lot of that goes. A lot of other breweries do pay that much attention to what they have out there in the market. Now you can find one-off things that they kind of don't forget about because it's just a small batch and it just rips and it's gone. And they think it's gone, but then you might find 6 months later a case sitting out there in some random spot, right? And you try it, and you're like, so. Yeah, I'm out in the market, and I find these places where I have had Shadow for a long time, but maybe in the mix of their backstock or whatever, a case of Shadow sits for a couple months. I'll buy that 6-pack, try it. Oh wow, this is way off of where we want to be and what we want to be presenting. And so we rectify that situation right then and there. It was like, call my distributor. I want this picked up. I want this out of here. Bring them a new, fresh. Like, that's what we got to do. Yeah. So I feel like the brewers that do care, yes, they're paying attention to that. Long story short. And the ones that are just pumping beer out to get beer out maybe don't care as much or not at all. I don't know. We do. We take very high pride in having a library of everything we've ever brewed to go back and sample so that we know where it's sitting over time. And we do that. And we take high priority in that.
I mean, we've talked to a bunch of breweries. I've never heard that, and I'm not saying that other breweries aren't doing it.
No,
that's the first time we've ever actually heard that. That's really cool.
Talked about that, yeah. I know there are several high priority breweries that definitely take that into account. I want to know.
I would say that, yeah. I mean, obviously, we don't have any Storm Shadow sitting around for for real. But we do let things age and see what they're like after a period of time. I think really the lead on that was we have a lot of brewing community is an amazing community. Yes. That's just very, very collaborative. So I think it was at MBA, and was it MBA? Sorry.
Yeah, it was a Hood River MBA. We were talking Breakside.
Yeah, Breakside. So they came on, and it's Ben from Breakside, and he talked about, like, this is what we did to come up with this beer. Like, let's see what really happened. So they tuned their hops to the beer to let it age a little bit. So I don't know if they did 3 months out or something like that.
What happens in it is, so aging in different environments, you have different flavor and aroma compounds that break down quicker than others. And what they found, I can't remember the exact hops. I believe Simcoe was a hop that outlasted every other hop with flavor and aroma compounds still sitting around. So in the long run, if your beer had Simcoe in it, and Simcoe wasn't a forward hop or flavor or aroma hop to begin with, 4 or 5 months down the road, 3 months, that was what was going to be prominent in the beer because the other flavor and aroma compounds have slowly broken down, and that's what you're left with. So Breakside's put a lot of research into what aroma and flavor compounds stick around, and so that we kind of picked up off of that and like, all right, what can we see what's lasting in our beers specifically, and see what's going on long term with that. How long does it stay the same? How long until we're losing flavor, losing aroma, those kinds of things.
That's awesome. I love that.
Is this an area where you think like your science and fermentation studies have really come in handy for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah. He talks about it, and I go, bring that down to layman's terms because you're talking like over here. I don't know what we're talking about.
So I went to Oregon State for food science and fermentation, and that degree has helped me immensely in everything to do with beer, like from yeast to hops to malt. Like there's so much understanding there that you just kind of like, you're going through the program and you're like, all right, yeah, no, I get this, and then you're out in industry and it's, oh shit, oh wow, I understand this and I know what is going on with what's happening, and it's kind of one of those epiphany moments that you have.
Yeah,
I would say to bring this back around to business is when we first started, it was just me and Devon doing things, and we're not that great of brewers. I mean, we're okay. You know, I can make a batch as long as I got somebody to, you know, like go, hey, what do I do now? You know, like, but we hired people that are better to make the company better, and for sure, Landon has done that.
And Oprah, I want to know what you think.
What do you think of the beer, bud?
I think this
Yeah,
beer is
the
fantastic.
You're a Pilsner guy.
I'm a Pilsner guy. I do appreciate good IPAs, though.
You do.
I am kind of the normal everyday beer drinker. I don't have the ideas of, hey, I can pick out the different types of hops and stuff that are being used.
Sure.
But I can appreciate a good beer. And this is fantastic. It tastes delicious. It's crisp.
Dude, look at that.
It smells great.
it.
Yeah.
It's good beer. You got topped off.
I did get topped off.
It's fantastic.
It is
What I like about this beer is I love the tangerine and the mandarin orange that really comes through, and it's not that like over hop bitterness that so many people like the real West Coast IPA that's just like blow up your mouth hops.
Yeah.
It's that citrus fruit bitterness combined with the hop. That makes it just absolutely delicious. So I really, really like this beer, 100%.
When you mention all the things, I pick it out. I don't myself pick them out, but when somebody says something, it's like, oh,
I see that.
I totally,
For sure.
I love how the nose up front
Yeah.
freaks out your palate when you taste it because the bitter.
Oh,
hits
yeah,
it, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
So you're
It
smelling,
bangs.
you're like, this is going to be fruity, but then all of a sudden you taste it, it's like that bitter back, boom, hits you,
Yep.
and it's like, whoa.
Yes.
What's the IBU on that?
The IBU on it is about 62
All right,
to 64.
So it's pretty bitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the smell, like the nose.
Dig that.
Yeah.
Smells awesome.
If you guys, since this is what we do here, like if you guys had any critiques,
Yeah.
I'd love to hear them.
Always
too.
open to
Like,
critiques. And don't give me
because-
like, oh, it's the
because
best.
we
Because
critique it
that.
in house, you
Yeah.
know, but we're rather partial to certain types of beer.
Sure.
And so, like, especially Nope there.
Something
He's
new.
not an IPA
Nope,
drinker.
I'm not
Like,
an IPA drinker.
is there anything you'd like to see?
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know. I'm like the everyday beer drinker. I don't sit here and think about the nose and how it confuses me when I take a drink. I think I take a drink and I think, shit, this tastes good. I enjoy this or I don't enjoy this.
Yeah.
For me, this is a great beer. I would sit down and I would have multiple glasses of this.
Cool.
And so
And that's it.
when I don't like something, I would say something along the lines of, I could drink a glass of this.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And then I move on to something else.
Fair
So
enough.
I would sit down and I would order one.
You can order one.
It's not horrible.
No, this is really good. I
I didn't
enjoy
get
it.
that response, so that's good.
I'm typically your Kolsch and
Yeah.
Pilsner person.
Yep.
So
For sure.
finding a good IPA that I like is in the land of everything IPAs. It seems like these days, finding one that isn't overly just
In your face.
in my face, is good. So
Yeah, you're exposed to the how could I call it? The crowd, the momentum of the crowd.
Right.
Like, really, if we make an IPA, it will sell instantly.
Yeah.
Any other beer style, I would say that maybe we'll have some lagers sitting around.
Yeah.
You know, there are breweries that can make pilsners and Hollis's and stuff like that, and just sell them right out the gate.
Yeah.
But we're more an IPA brewery, and so we get a lot of call for that. So I feel your pain a little bit because it is hard to find some good other beers because everybody else wants IPA all the time.
yeah.
So
Well, I can tell you that I've had your Pilsner today as well.
Yes.
It is also fantastic.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
And Vancouver Pills.
Yep.
Super yummy.
We're here.
Well, here's what I want to ask you about this beer. Because you had mentioned to us, so we send out a questionnaire to our guests to fill out beforehand, just so we can do some prep work. And
You
had
mean that
said-
thing I stared at for like 2 hours? I was like, I don't know what to write down. Like,
The one he
this
was
is not my thing.
for him.
I'm like, I feel like I'm doing homework. And one of the
What would you
questions,
guys say?
one of the questions that we ask is, what do you wish you had known at startup or when you started in your role that you know now that you can go back and tell yourself? And you had said, I wish I had known that hazy IPAs were going to be a thing.
I mean,
And I have another question. That's not the question.
Okay.
I have a question. What I love about this beer is that and you're probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I am, is that it attempts to mirror a lot of the things that people love about hazy IPAs without it being a hazy IPA.
there's a lot of flavor in it, yes.
And so is that what you were aiming to do with this beer, is try to bridge that gap? I want to make that beer that appeals to the hazy IPA lovers, but it's still, because it's not a hazy IPA.
No, not at all.
It's not.
It's
It's an
bitter.
IPA.
There's a lot of bitterness, and it's far from a hazy.
But it has some of those
It
things
has
that
a
people
lot
love
of
about
the
hazy IPAs.
flavor profile in the tangerine, mandarin, orange. It's got a dank aroma, and that's a lot of things that you do find in the hazy IPA. I do think that, there is a similarity in like beer drinkers and the way it's trending at the time. And I do think right now that we're looking at more like IPAs being a very, very flavorful, where you look back to like 2010 and it's like, it's all about destroy my palate with IBUs.
It was San Diego Stone IPA.
Yeah,
right?
it's 110 IBUs,
Yeah.
and that's what we're doing. So I do think there is some correlation between the West Coast IPA and hazy IPAs in the way that it moves. Like the hazy IPA has become a thing, and that has shifted the West Coast IPA towards that. And maybe in the future it shifts back the other way. But yeah, this IPA was we're going for a lot of flavor. We're going for citrus. We're going for tangerine, mandarin orange, dank aroma. You want all of that there because that's expected to be in beer now.
Yep.
Where, back in 2010,
Just pine.
yeah, it was you're literally drinking pine with grapefruit,
Right.
and that's
Right.
it's like that's all it is, and then punch you in the mouth with hops. So I do think there is some correlation, and maybe that's a subconscious thing that happened with this beer, but straight up planning it, no, that was not any part of what I was
it's
doing.
it's just more of what's happening in the beer brewing trending, what people like.
I would say-
but it's a freaking delicious beer.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
It has everything that I like in a beer, for me personally.
I would say modern West Coast
Yes.
is where I would go. with
Oh,
it.
there you go.
Yeah.
Modern West Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I
We
still
are.
think, when I
We're-
still think West Coast IPA, I still think that
Hoppy, in your face, piney,
grapefruit.
dank,
Yeah.
wow, rip your face off kind of thing.
Yeah.
We're trying to blend that back to like people that are here, Northwest people, and what they're attuned to now. Right? We're gonna mix these two now because we know you like the sweet, we also know you like the bitter. So let's
That's right.
see what we can
Well,
do with that.
Yeah.
You could also pull in those Coors Light Northwest folks.
Yeah.
Milwaukee's Beat. All
Yeah.
those people who are so accustomed to drinking those
Yeah.
light craft beers.
Sure. Yep.
You can pull
craft beers, not
yeah,
craft.
craft beer. So you could pull those people in potentially as well. You bring them in with your Pilsner maybe, and then
Yeah.
And that's what we
Yeah,
did with
yeah,
our
that's-
with our lager, our Pilsner.
Yes.
We have a Hellas lager as well, but Loowit lager back in the day, when it started, it was literally because people were coming in and they're like, "Oh, do you have Coors Light on tap?" And no, we don't. And at the time, would we have 5 tap handles?
Yeah, 5 or 6.
5. So,
Eight.
maybe.
Maybe 8.
But we're running our core product, and it was like, oh, we need a lager, and so we came out with Loowit lager, which was a light lager. It's 4.1%, and it's very clean, crisp, and that's sufficed for that group.
But even that beer, when we pull out Vienna,
We pulled
Yeah.
Vienna malt out of that.
just make it lighter, make it crisper, make it more in that line of like more of a macro lager, because that's what the can looks like. That's what we
That's what
want
we're shooting for.
the people that are buying the Rainiers or Pabst or whatever. We want them to go over and be like, "Oh shit, there's this. It's microbrewery. Well, maybe we'll try it. It looks like this can, like."
Hey, you got
So,
one of
yeah.
them micro brews.
it's their gateway. It's their gateway.
It's a gateway
It
drug.
is.
That had to be the longest guest beer segment we have ever had on this beer.
I mean, it's almost the whole episode.
Hey,
It's
when you can talk
fantastic.
about good beer, you talk about good beer.
I mean, look, if we could just sit around and drink beer and talk about it for like 3 hours.
I mean, it's in the name.
I think
Done.
you
I'm
might.
good with that.
This is the beer over business episode.
Yes.
The beer
Beer
over
over
business. We're doing
the beer over business.
We reverted this one.
It's a very special Christmas episode.
There you go.
Charlie Brown.
That sounds fun. Come back for a Christmas episode.
I
We'll
do
just
have
get
to ask
hammered.
a little bit about marketing because you
Yeah.
guys have your marketing is legit from your logo, like on here on the glass. That's awesome. To all of your beers, just describe where that comes from. That marketing campaign.
That's all we do.
Yeah, so I think it's really pretty organic, honestly. The Loowit logo came before the brewery was actually opened. So we went to a place here that used to exist called Tribe 2 that did like 4 or 5 logo designs. And they were all good, but that was the best one. And that's the one on the glass is actually an iteration that we changed a little bit just so it's more iconic. Because usually it's the full mountain and it's this Loowit Brewing. This is just more of an icon. We can throw on everything, something very, very recognizable. As far as like beer names, the beer cans, from the start, we tried to look at it like you're in a wine aisle, right? So you've got, 800 Cabernets there. Which one are you going to buy? It's the one with the flashy label that's going to draw your eye, right? So that was kind of where we wanted to go with that was let's catch their eye real quick right when they're browsing, and they'll be like, oh shit, what's this? There's a ninja on the front. Like, I love ninjas. I grew up with ninjas. I mean, I'm in my 40s. I grew up with Ninja Turtles, all that kind of crap, Transformers, D&D, cartoons.
You and Devon are very heavy on D&D.
Yeah, well, he didn't play as much as I did.
But he's
played
still
a lot
playing
of
to the
D&D.
day, though.
Yeah, he is
Ninja
playing.
Gaiden.
He is currently playing.
Ninja Gaiden. Just the geekdom and that kind of stuff. And geeks became cool. And so we just leaned into it as much as we could.
Yeah.
And honestly, we don't really try. We're just that geeky.
Yeah. That's the truth.
Yeah, it's very
When
true.
I met these guys 8 years ago, it was that. I'll tell you what, I didn't grow up playing D&D. It wasn't me, right? I was just
He's like,
an
I'm not
outdoor
a
kid. I like
These guys are the geeks.
These guys are geeks. Like, if I was younger and I met these guys, I would have said, you guys are nerds. Like, I'd rather be out riding my bike or climbing, and these guys want to play D&D. That's cool. And now, I'm like, fuck, I missed out on something as a kid. Like, that's where I'm at, because I've now become into this, and like, what are you guys talking about? Every beer name that comes out, I gotta research. Where did that come from? And I go, oh, it's a D&D reference.
So, yeah, I mean, it was just, it's our natural inclination. It's also what we like. It's, but at the same time, we want it to be eye-catching and a little flashy and a little different than your standard beer label. So it's just a way to draw customers in as far as like what the design is and stuff. We really are very detailed with that. And Devon is the worst. That's the other owner. So he'll get a new beer label, and I've never seen somebody be this particular, but he'll notice like, oh, the sword tip is a different chrome than this.
Is he the comic book?
I would say that the comic book stuff is me, and then
Really?
our old head brewer Matt Freeland was super into comic books, and he arranged that where we could have the comic books, and we got them for the bathrooms and stuff. So I'm a huge comic book geek too.
I love
So
comics.
The comic decor.
yeah,
Is,
so it's a labor of love to come back to it, and like Shadow Shinobi, that was actually you can't tell right now, but it used to be a really big running crew with me and Devon, and Shadow Shinobi Tiger Squadron was our hood to coast team. So our Shadow Ninja Tiger Squadron before we got the cease and desist for Shadow Ninja. Grimlock, our quarter is an ode to the Transformers, but can't really put Grimlock on a label because Hasbro's, and so
Also, Grimlock is
it's
a
a D&D,
it's a cave troll.
thing. So there's that.
Yep.
Storm Shadow, was originally let's do an amped up ninja.
Yeah.
G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
Storm Shadow. Well, you don't want to do that either, so let's put a ship on the label and So
The problem with us being super nerdy and wanting to tie everything back to your childhood and our childhoods, is these cease and desists and stuff we get off of them that are just rad. Like, that's a rad name. Why would you not want a homage? I don't know. But
Can
we
you?
do.
So
We
I'm
do.
sorry for. I'm going to go there because
Go ahead.
people are going to be like, "What are these guys?"
What are
So
you
you
talking about?
had a beer called X.
Yes. Go
What?
ahead.
No, wait.
Shadow
Okay.
Ninja.
Yeah.
So your flagship was Shadow Ninja.
Shadow
Shadow
Ninja was
Ninja.
our IPA.
So we were rolling with that for a long time, and actually people started calling us the Ninja Brewery. I'm like, no, we're
Ninja
Loowit,
Brewery.
but we have Shadow Ninja. So we got a cease and desist from a brewery out in North Carolina, and yeah, it's honestly it's no fault to them. If you don't protect your marks, if you don't protect your trademarks, they will come back and they'll say you didn't protect your mark, so it's not yours.
Yeah.
So you have to.
So they had a beer called Shadow Ninja.
They had a beer called Ninja. Ninja Porter.
Ninja Porter.
And it was Asheville. Anyway, Asheville. They were super cool about it. Actually, we tried to negotiate with them. Like, let's do an agreement where we don't go beyond our boundaries for this beer or whatever. And they're like, nah, they're not going to do that. So it's like, well, let's just change the name. And in the end, any adversary to us, usually we try to turn into a benefit. So what we did was we renamed it Shadow Shinobi, we redid the label, and we released a comic book.
Yep.
Remember that.
So
I do remember that.
yeah, and it was just a fun little jab at that kind of it was the East Coast Clan versus the Shinobi
Eastern Ale Clan.
Yeah, Eastern Ale Clan, and it had a story in there, and
It was fun.
It sounds like a campaign.
yeah,
It was a campaign.
Yeah.
It was a campaign to let people know, hey, we can't use Shadow Ninja anymore, so we're gonna be Shadow Shinobi.
But because
go
of that, our sales went up, and
people loved it.
we want to go back to doing another comic book for other characters in our beer lineup.
Yeah.
It is expensive, so we have to weigh that against all the COVID stuff. But in the end, it was a good thing. It really was. I'm glad that they sent that cease and desist at this point in time.
Yeah, I mean, what's the lesson there? I mean, the lesson there is you could have fought it. You could have been pissed. You could have bad-mouthed them. Because I'm over here like I'm getting all bent out of shape. Like, really, Ninja Porter, Shadow Shinobi, Shadow Ninja IPA. I'm getting all like uptight about it. But you guys, I mean, the lesson is, how do we take this, not bad-mouth anybody, not be assholes about it, let's just accept it and turn it into a positive. Like, that's the business lesson, right? I mean, this is far more than beer. This happens to people in businesses all the time. You get a cease and desist, or you run into some obstacle, and you have a choice to make. Am I going to get pissed and make a whole big to-do out of it, or am I going to try to find the positives and turn it into something that can benefit our business? It sounds like that's what you guys did.
Exactly. That was, I mean, at first it was crushing. It really was. Like, oh, we can't do this. Everybody knows this beer and all this stuff.
Yeah, we can't change the name.
Yeah.
This is going to ruin it in our mind.
Yeah, it's going to destroy us. But being able to do that and really present it as same beer, different name, and rebrand it and remarket it gave us that opportunity to really send it out again and get it fresh in people's minds. I would say that it picked up. It only picked up from there. Yep. But really, it was this revitalization of the brand. So I don't like I said, I'm actually grateful for them sending that, because if it hadn't been, there might not have been like label rework, artwork, stuff like that.
Something to make us better.
The label's way better than it was previously with Ninja. All the marketing material we did, it really shot it way up.
It forced us
I wanna
to
say
be
It forced your hand to do things that you wouldn't have done otherwise.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And-
Almost like a jab, though, too. You say, like, fine.
Yeah.
Say Shinobi instead of Ninja.
If you want to be like that,
Same thing.
we'll
There
call the
might
same
have-
word and a different word.
I mean, there might have been a little bit of that. I don't know.
I don't see you as a vindictive type.
No,
So,
no,
I mean,
I'm not typically vindictive, but it is up to the trademark attorney at the state level to decide whether or not something
You were
infringes on another mark. So we tried to sneak that past them, and our attorney was like, okay, as long as they don't look at the translation, we're good to go. And they didn't, or they did and they didn't care. So it was close enough. It was close enough. And it's got a good flow, and now people call it Shinobi. So instead of Ninja.
Now it's a Shinobi.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, I mean, and that's just, I mean, again, so, I mean, there's a way to reinvent your business and pivot when your hands are forced. And we've talked, and of course, now this last year has forced all of us to do that. And there's tons of business lessons there. And so I think that's a good segue into sort of where we're at. I want to learn more about where you guys came from, how you started the brewery. But before we get there, Ben, I'm thirsty and you look thirsty. I am thirsty.
Join us next week for part 2 of this episode. You can be sure we'll be talking more business and drinking more beer. Business Over Beer reminds you to always drink responsibly. Our theme song is Idiocracy by Christian Leo. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Business Over Beer, a TH3 Entertainment production.